Hello everyone. Hey everyone, welcome back. Welcome to the channel. Just getting a few things in order here before we go live, guys. Welcome back. Welcome back. So, genuine creators, I wanted to share something with you guys today. I wanted to talk about out of order to do order. So out of order to do order. But before I start talking about what it means to be out of order and then to do order, okay, we're going to share a couple things here. So for those who want to, be able to stand up for yourself, be able to represent yourself, if you happen to go to court, and to know how to be able to reserve your rights and things of that nature. I purchased a book not too long ago, and you may or may not be familiar with it, but it's called The UCC Connection: How to Free Yourself from Legal Tyranny. And so it looks like this. I don't get any proceeds from this, guys. I don't get any proceeds, but I just wanted to share this. I just wanted to share like what some of the things that I'm studying, okay? And so one of the things you're going to learn in here is how to be able to, you're going to learn about colorable courts and colorable money, right? Colorable courts and colorable money. What is that? So let me just read from page 14 in here. Maybe it looks like a dollar, and I've had videos on that talking about turning fiat money into real money. So maybe it looks like a dollar, maybe it spends like a dollar, but if it's not redeemable for lawful money, which is silver or gold, then it is colorable. What is colorable? Fiat, fake, or false. All right? And so if a Federal Reserve note is used in a contract, then the contract becomes a colorable contract. Okay? So that's just an excerpt there from the UCC Connection. And another thing I wanted to mention was, so another thing that this book will educate you on, right? It educates me on are the three jurisdictions which the courts can operate that the Constitution talks about, guys. And so one of them is common law, right? One of them is equity law. And then the other one is admiralty or maritime law. And I know that several people have contacted me about these types of things and these types of studies. And so common law, equity law, and admiralty maritime law. Those are the three jurisdictions that the courts or the colorable courts can operate in. Right, you'll learn about that in here. And so jurisdiction, and so even speaking on jurisdiction, right? What is even jurisdiction? Okay? And so jurisdiction comes from the Latin. So jus, like J-U-S, or juris is law, right, or justice. Law, right, or justice is juris, and then diction is to say or declare. So how am I going to, and how are you going to say or declare your rights, say or declare what the law is, say or declare what justice is, if you don't know or have the vocabulary to be able to express that? And so we're all learning here. And so something else I wanted to share, guys, before I get started here talking about out of order to do order, right? I wanted to share this. So I've been waiting for a while for this to come in the mail, and it's about 7.4 pounds, almost 8 pounds. And so I have not opened it up yet, but today I'm going to open it up and just share it with you guys. And so I've been learning from this book before I even purchased the book, but now I've got it. I've been learning from this book. So I've been doing studies and I've been being taught on different things out of this book, and it's called the Black's Law Dictionary. Black's Law Dictionary. I'm sure some people have seen it. I'm sure some people have not seen it. But it's the Black's Law Dictionary, the 11th edition by Brian A. Garner, editor-in-chief. And so this is my first time actually handling it, and it is like lifting a weight, right? And so the first thing is it talks about pronunciation guide. And let's see, I've never looked in here before, so let's see what we got. And I ordered this from online. And so it talks about, appendix talks about legal maxims, 1943, the Declaration of Independence, the Constitution of the United States of America, Universal Declaration of Human Rights, members of the United States Supreme Court, Federal Circuits map, the British regnal years, biographical books cited. Okay, so let's just go and look up something. Let's see. One word that I've learned in the past is adsum. What is adsum? A-D, I believe, S-U-M. Adsum. To be present, right? To be here and to be present. When you're in school and the teacher called out your name, you would say, here, I'm here, right? Okay, well, see if I can find that, see what it says in here. Okay, so let's look up, okay, is that even in here? Okay, I'm not seeing it in here, so let's look up another word. And well, so let's look up what it means for accountability. The state or quality of being answerable to somebody for something, responsibility. Then it goes into the modern notion of accountability, usually considered in the context of institutional or democratic constraints on the decision making. Okay. All right, well, that's just kind of browsing through here, guys, to see what was in here. First time I ever looked in here. And franchise, jury fee, federation. A federation, a league or union of states, groups or peoples united under a strong central authority by retaining limited regional sovereignty over local affairs. Okay. So anyway, I won't get into this. I want to dive into this myself at a later time. But this is going to be another way, another tool, another avenue to be able to increase my vocabulary, increase our vocabulary, right? To be able to, communicate better. And so those are just a couple things that I wanted to share before I got started, guys. But today I want to talk about out of order to be in order. All right, out of order to be in order. And we're going to be speaking from, or we're going to be reading from 1 Chronicles 15:13. 1 Chronicles 15:13. So these two books that I've shared, and then other books, and you and I doing our own research, right? Doing our own personal research. All right, we can use this information that will help self-educate, right? So I'm going to self-educate myself by reading through the Black's Law Dictionary. I'm going to self-educate myself by reading through the UCC Connection. I'm going to self-educate myself by reading from the Bible, right? And many other. There's a plethora. There's so many books out there, right? And so I'm going to take myself, and you can take yourself to the next level personally, to be able to help someone else, right? That's what you want to be able to do. I'm not here on this planet for me, right? You're not here on this planet for you. Some of us thought we were, right? But, and so let's go to First Chronicles 13, I'm sorry, First Chronicles 15:13. I want to start out first. So I'm kind of going to go ahead and then I'm going to go backwards, all right? And so I wanted to point out this word, even due order, right? We're looking at the dictionary and things like that. This word due order, what does this word mean? The Hebrew word for due order is mishpat, mishpat, and it's equivalent to judgment, justice, ordinance, or procedure. So we're talking about judgment, justice, ordinance, or procedure. So in other words, follow instructions. We're talking about instructions here, right, guys? And so in 1 Corinthians 15:13, right, it says, because you did it not at the first, the Lord our God made a breach upon us, for that we sought him not after the due order. We sought him not after the due order. And so, what are we talking about there? What are we getting into? All right, well, you got to go back. You got to go back, and you can do this on your own another time. I'm just going to touch upon certain points here. You got to go back to 1 Chronicles 13, when David had it in his heart to move the ark of the Lord, or to bring the ark of the Lord, and the ark of the Lord represents God's presence, to bring the ark of the Lord, right, in their midst, right, to bring the ark of the Lord home, right? And so in chapter 13 of 1 Chronicles, verse 3, it says, and let us bring again the ark of our God to us, for we inquired not in the days of Saul. And all the congregation said that they would do so, for the thing was right in the eyes of the people. So, David has this good heart. He has these good intentions, right? He gets other people on board, and the other people are with him, right? And so David gathers all Israel. And so they're going about to bring the ark of the Lord, which was at someone else's house, okay? And so in verse 7, it says, and they carried the ark of God in a new cart out of the house of Abinadab, and Uzzah and Ahio drove the cart, right? And David and all Israel played before God with all their might. So they're doing everything in their ability. They're doing everything, with all their might, with good intentions. And then verse 9 happens. And when they came unto the threshing floor of Chidon, Uzzah, his name spelled Uzza, put forth his hand to hold the ark, for the oxen stumbled. Okay, and so he put forth his hand, Uzzah puts forth his hand to try to control the ark try to, keep it from stumbling, keep it from falling over. And the ark was a box of wood made and overlaid with gold, and the top of it, which is called the mercy seat, was a lid with two cherubim facing each other. I'm sure you've probably seen it in movies and things like that. And that was made out of gold. And so in the middle there was where Moses would put the blood, right, from an animal that was slaughtered in the past. He would put the blood right in between. The two cherubim would be facing each other with their wings outstretched, and then Moses would put the blood there. And when that blood was placed there, because of the shedding of blood of an animal, then that covered the people's sins, right? That covered over people's faults and things like that. And this is the old way of how they did things back in the Old Testament. And so now Uzzah puts out his hand to steady the ark. And let's think about that. Before we go into the next thing, what does the word Uzzah mean? The word Uzzah means strength, power, and might. We probably even get our word Uzi from it, right? So Uzzah means strength, power, and might, like man's strength, power, and might, right? And so something happened when when man or Uzzah went to put forth his hand to try to steady the presence of God or try to steady the ark. And so in verse 9, it says, verse 10 it says, and the anger of the Lord was kindled against Uzzah, and he smote him because he put his hand to the ark, and there he died before God. So now we're talking about unnecessary casualties. But remember, the whole preface of this is out of order to do order. Out of order to do order. So Uzzah, in the grand scheme of things, right? He now, who has been led by David, dies. So David dies, Uzzah dies now. Why? Because David didn't do something right. But I thought we read that all through here, everybody's in agreement. They're singing. They're doing everything out of the strength of their, out of all their might, right? And everything seems to be in order, doesn't it? Doesn't everything seem to be in order here? And then let's go ahead to the next verse. And so verse 12, and David was afraid of God that day, saying, how shall I bring the ark of God to me? Right? He had a good intention. He wants to bring the ark of God. He wants to bring the presence of God, in the midst of him and the people in Israel, right? So David brought not the ark home to himself, to the city of David, but carried it into the house of Obed-Edom the Gittite. And the ark of God remained there with the family of Obed-Edom in his house for 3 months. And so now let's go forward now to 2 Chronicles 15. So now we read in 2 Chronicles 15, 3 months have passed. Then David said, none ought to carry the ark of God but the Levites. For them has the Lord chosen to carry the ark of God and to minister unto him forever. All right. And then if we scroll down to verse 13 of verse 13 of chapter 15. Okay. And it says, this is where we started. For because you did not at the first, the Lord our God made a breach upon us, for that we sought him not after the due order. And that's where we began. So now what's he doing now? During those 3 months, he found something out. He went and did some study. He went to the old scrolls and the old books, and he did some study and he did some research. He did some personal study and some personal research, right? And he found that the children of the Levites bear the ark of God upon their shoulders. So when he first tried to bring the presence of God, they're trying to bring it upon calves, upon cows of some sort, right? And a new cart. But here he's done his research and he found the due order. He went from a place of being out of order, where we have unnecessary casualties, right, to due order, right? And so now he finds out that the Levites were ordained to carry the ark, to carry the presence of God on their shoulders with staves or poles, right? As Moses commanded according to the word of the Lord. All right. And so now David speaks to the Levites, and he says, hey, Levites, go appoint your brothers to be singers and to have instruments of music. And verse 17, and the Levites appointed Haman, the son of Joel, and it goes down there and says a bunch of names. And then there was porters. What are porters? Porters are doorkeepers. And so then you got the singers of Haman, you've got the doorkeepers, you've got the players on instruments. And then down on 22, he says, and Hananiah, chief of the Levites, was for song. He instructed about the song because he was skillful. So we got Chenaniah. So now we see that David's getting things in order. He's doing due order. He is getting things in the proper order. He's following the instructions. And so that's what due order is. In other words, mishpat, judgment, justice, ordinance, or procedure, is to follow the instructions. And so a lot of us guys, I don't know about you, but I know that in my life, right? I know in my life in the past, we've been out of order. I mean, can I get a witness up in here who's been out of order? Who can testify, I've been out of order in my life, right? So there's been unnecessary casualties. There's been unnecessary things that have gone on in our lives, and there's been loss. And whether that's personally, whether that's financially, whether that's in business, right? We've had unnecessary things happen because we were trying to do things in our own strength, in our best effort. And we even had other people maybe go along with us and say, hey, yeah, that seems like a right thing to do. Go ahead and do that. But we didn't seek the Lord. We didn't seek the authority, right? We didn't seek the authority, which is God, which is Christ. And so if you don't believe that, then let's agree to disagree. You can do what you will on your channel, and I'll do what I will on my channel as far as professing the name of Christ, the name of Jesus, in which I believe, and who is my life and my strength. Okay? I've been taken from, I've been, if you will, I've been on my deathbed, and now I'm here alive before you. I've been in jail, and now I'm here free before you. So I'm gonna declare the one to whom my allegiance is due, and that's God. That's the God of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. Okay, that's Yeshua. Okay, that's salvation, right? All right, otherwise known as Jesus, otherwise known as Jesus, and Yeshua. All right, Emmanuel, God with us. And so, if that's not for you, then that's not for you. And so, where was I? And so we've all been out of order at times in our life. And some unnecessary things have transpired and happened, haven't they? So now it's time to get in due order. Now it's time for us to get in due order. And so, even when we, such as go into the bank, even when we go into the bank, we've been out of order. All of our lives, we've been out of order, all right? The way we've planned to leave assets for our family, the way we've planned to leave an inheritance for our family has been out of order. The way we've done business has been out of order, right? And so it's time to be able to do our own self-education, do your own self-education, get in the room after you do your own self-education with others, and bring the minds together, bring your minds and bring your experiences together then, and be able to learn to, commingle the minds, right? Commingle your knowledge and your wisdom and go to another level, right? So, as we started off at the beginning, we've been out of order, but we want to go from out of order, if you're looking from left to right, we want to go from out of order to due order. Out of order to due order. So if the business has been out of order, we don't have to guess about it. There's a way to do business where we can be in order and we don't have to be guessing about things. There's a way to do so. In other words, I can delegate that part of the business that I am no good at, that is not my area of expertise. So if I have a general contracting company and my expertise is drywall, I'm going to stick with drywall. Or my expertise is management, I'm going to stick with management. And I'm going to delegate the plumbing and the lighting and the electric, all right, and the framing and so on and so forth. I'm going to delegate that out. And that's what David started to do. He did his research and then he started delegating out. And he started putting people in the jobs and the things that they were really ordained for, that they really excelled at. It was really their jam, right? And so now let's learn what it is that we need to be, to learn. Let us find the due order, right? And execute on what we learned. So David executed on what he learned. In those 3 months, from chapter 13 to chapter 15, something changed, something happened. He had to have gone back to the scrolls from the old days, probably from the first 5 books. He went back and he researched Moses. He researched back in, I believe, Genesis and things where it talks about how God showed Moses the different articles and things like that of the tabernacle, of the presence of the Lord, how to set it up, who should be in charge, how to do the slaughtering of the animals, all the different things that would be located in the holy place and in the Holy of Holies. Right? You can go back and read that. You can go back and read that in, I believe it's Genesis. But he started to get his self-education on. He started to do his own due diligence, right? And then he got back together with the group, and then they started to get things done. They started to execute on things. They got themselves in due order. And so this is what I want to share with you guys today, all right? And so let's find out the right procedure to turn the business, to turn your finances around, right? So that you're not running around in circles trying to do everything, right? And what's happening when we're running around in circles trying to do everything? You are unfocused, right? Because you're trying to do all these different things. You're losing energy, right? And you have lack of effectiveness. So, that's what David started to do. He started to get things in order. He started to focus and say, hey, Levites, you guys do this. Hey, assign these guys to do this and do that. And have the singers and have the people on instruments and have instructors and things like that. And so what we need to do in closing, what we need to do is our own personal study and research for whatever it is in that genre or your niche, whether it's online or in your real world business, right? Do your own personal study, do your research on your own, right? And then come together and combine the minds and learn so that you can execute on what needs to be done. And so that's what I had for you guys today. Let's go from being out of order to due order. D-U-E. Let's go from out of order to due order. Study what needs to be studied, learn what needs to be learned, right? And let's not assume like David did at first. He assumed that I can work this thing like this. And he was guessing, if you will. He was guessing. But there are certain rules, laws, and regulations put in place to play a basketball game, right? There's certain rules to play the basketball game. If you don't know the words that are used in the basketball game, in the game of basketball, then you're not going to know where the foul line is. You're not going to know where the out of bounds line is. You're not going to know what a 3-point and a 2-point. You're not going to know what it means to take a charge. You're not going to know what an offensive foul is. So you have to learn the words, hence the dictionary. You have to learn the words, right, to be able to function and operate in the courts. You've got to learn the words, and you got to learn the colorable law, the colorable courts, to be able to deal with this fiat colorable money that we're dealing with. And so that's what I have for you guys today. Let's get from being out of order to due order. And so until next time, guys, I hope this was helpful. I hope this blessed you, and I hope this encouraged you. Until next time, genuine assets and genuine creators, be well.